Well, so this just got interesting. Jalen Hurts has been ruled out of tomorrow's game. He suffered an ankle injury against the New York Giants. It looked like he was going to play the last few days, but today it has been announced that he will not play tomorrow. Gardner Minshew will get the start. And this is intriguing because a lot of people have wanted to see what Gardner Minshew can do. And I'm not saying this as like a diss on Jalen Hurts. I'm intrigued by this because I want to see how the offense looks under a different quarterback. I want to see how Nick Sirianni calls plays with Gardner Minshew under center. So we all know that he came from Jacksonville, and while he didn't turn out to be the franchise quarterback that people were expecting when that whole Minshew mania took place after Foles got injured in 2019, Gardner Minshew, he's not a total scrub. He threw for 5,530 yards, 37 touchdowns, in 23 games as a Jaguar with a bad Jaguars team. Those are pretty decent numbers, all considered. All things considered, those are pretty solid numbers. So, Gardner Minshew, I don't think that he's like a crazy elite talent or anything, but I'm intrigued by him. I think he can decently throw a football. I think he's shown that he can play in the NFL. Now, I don't think he has the same escapability as Jalen Hurts, so that'll be interesting how he handles pressure. But I really want to see how Nick Sirianni handles this quarterback change. I want to see how we call plays under this different quarterback. So this game tomorrow, the New York Jets, in addition to Jalen Hurts, Jordan Howard is out of this game. We really missed him last week. Last time I read, Boston Scott was questionable. So it seems like this is going to be a game where we lean heavily on Miles Sanders. And the New York Jets, I'm going to be honest, guys, this is a very dangerous game. It's a dangerous game. The New York Jets, people like to make fun of them. They're nowhere near being a serious contender. But 2 games this year, 2 games that I'm thinking of, they beat the Tennessee Titans, who had Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry played in that game. This was before the injury. They beat the Titans with Derrick Henry. And then a few weeks after that, they beat the 5-2 Bengals, who were the number 1 seed in the AFC at the time. The Mike White game, he's fallen from grace ever since then. But those are 2 games where the Jets just totally shocked some elite teams. The Jets, they can really catch you off guard. So this is a game that the Eagles really have to take seriously. This is nowhere near a guaranteed win like some people think. I thought last week was a guaranteed win. We all remember how that turned out against the New York Giants. All right, so the things that I don't want to see from last week. Last week, even though I thought we ran the ball well, I think we had over 200 yards rushing. The problem with last week's game is that we weren't running the ball in key situations. I'm talking about right before halftime. I think that you should have just ran that ball into the end zone. Jalen Hurts, he went to pass it on a terrible throw. He should have threw it away. It got intercepted. And then the 3rd down where we passed the ball. And then passing again after that on a 4th down. Those are what I'm talking about. We did not run the ball in key situations last week. And again, like I've been saying in a bunch of games this season, the number one thing that worries me about this game, the number one thing is our defensive line, our pass rush. We do not have a decent pass rush this year. This pass rush is so inconsistent. The pass rush is just so up and down. Like there's games like Carolina, the Carolina Panthers game, the Detroit Lions game, where they really showed up. Like the defensive line, they really ate during those games. They were a huge factor in winning those 2 games. And then you got other games like the Raiders game in Las Vegas where Derek Carr went 31 of 34. Justin Herbert, Los Angeles Chargers, where he went 32 of 38. Like this pass rush is just, I'm so tired of this pass rush. This pass rush is a big problem. Like last week, if you couldn't get a turnover off of Daniel Jones of all quarterbacks, Daniel Jones, the guy who turns over the ball at least 2 times a game, that's a serious problem. That is a serious problem. The number one issue right now is our pass rush. That's what I think. The pass rush is a big problem. Zach Wilson, even though he struggled this year, number 2 overall pick, the guy's got an arm. He can throw the ball. In fact, I remember there was rumors that Howie Roseman actually wanted to trade up all the way to number 2? He wanted to trade up to get Zach Wilson. I'm not sure if you all remember that, but I do. Howie Roseman wanted to get, I just jumbled. Howie Roseman wanted Zach Wilson. He was willing to trade up for him, but It didn't happen. Luckily, we stayed put where we were. We ended up with Devontae Smith. And speaking of Devontae Smith, you got to target this guy more. You got to target the guy. Like I said with the run game, we weren't running the ball in key situations. In key situations, I felt like we didn't target Devontae Smith. And those two plays near the end of the game, how are you not going to Devontae Smith there? How are you not going to Devontae Smith? Jalen Reagor should not be getting more targets than Devontae Smith. He shouldn't. On the last play of the game, it looked like Devontae Smith was open. Everybody's talking about that. Devontae Smith looked wide open. Well, not wide open, but he was decently open on that last play. And we went to Jalen Reagor, who dropped the ball, let it go right through his hands, hit him in the face at the goal line. We lose. It's like Devontae Smith would have caught that ball. Devontae Smith would have caught both of those plays, in my opinion. I think he would have caught both of those plays. How sweet would it have been to have won that game against the New York Giants on a last-second touchdown by Devontae Smith, the guy that we stole from them in the 2021 NFL Draft? That would have been so sweet, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. You got to target Devontae Smith more. He got so frustrated after that loss, he threw his helmet in anger, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. He would have made those catches. Everybody knows that Devontae Smith would have made those catches. He would have. So this game just, oh, man. It's this pass rush. This pass rush is worrying me about this game. It's like, if we can't get any pressure, Zach Wilson is going to carve us up like quarterbacks have been doing all year, like Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott. He's going to carve us up if we don't get pressure. That's my main key. I keep saying, it's like the same thing I have to say in every video. It's the pass rush. The pass rush has to do better. The pass rush has to do better. Javon Hargrave, he started out the season with like 4 sacks in 4 games or 5 sacks in 5 games, something like that. He went quiet ever since. Josh Sweat, who I really like, he's been noticeably quiet too. I haven't really seen him do anything since the Detroit Lions game. Derek Barnett, we all know about him, the walking penalty, the guy that always gets called for flags. I will say this, though. I thought he did a good job against the New York Giants. I saw a few big plays from Derek Barnett, but he's been mostly a disappointment. Ryan Kerrigan, another disappointment. Fletcher Cox, he made a big play with against the Saints, forcing a fumble, but the defensive line really has to step up. And Miles Sanders, you got to hang on to the ball, man. Against the New Orleans Saints, you fumbled, and then you fumbled again, but luckily the second fumble, they blew the play dead. And this has been an issue for you for a long time, Sanders. Ever since 2019, your rookie year, you got to hang on to the ball, man. You got to hang on to the ball. So without Howard and Boston Scott, most likely in this game, it's going to be a lot of work on you, Miles Sanders. It's going to be a lot of work on you. Now, Kenneth Gainwell is probably going to be mixed in here and there, but Sanders, you're going to be getting the blunt of the workforce, man. We really need you to just, I know how explosive Sanders can be. There was a play against the Saints where he broke out like a 27-something yard run. Against the Giants, he broke out another long run. This guy, he's really explosive, but he's really got to work on taking care of the football. And he's really got to work on not just heading for the hole. Miles Sanders, he likes to like dance and stuff, like shake and bake. Like just head for the hole, man. I like Miles Sanders, but he's got to work on some things. He's got to work on some things. But Gardner Minshew, it's going to be interesting to see how this guy plays out. Gardner Minshew, we traded a conditional 6th-round pick for him, and let's see how he stands up in a duel against Zach Wilson in this game. Because if we lose this game tomorrow, the season's over. The season's over if we lose this game tomorrow. I don't see how you can recover from 5-8 when this wild card race, which is really tight right now, you got the 49ers who beat you head-to-head earlier this year. They could win a tiebreaker over you. The Minnesota Vikings. Even Washington. Washington is the 7th seed right now. With that win over, who are they playing? The Seahawks. The one time I root for the Seahawks, they can't do it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But anyway, Washington, with that win over the Seahawks, they snuck past us. Now they're second place in the NFC East, and they're sitting at the 7th seed. Now think of it, if we had just taken care of the Giants last week, we would have been the 7th seed. We would have been 6-6. And that's even with the 49ers beating the Vikings last week. We still would have been the number 7 seed as long as we took care of the Giants. We didn't do that. Now we're going back to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Jets, a team that we've never lost to ever In 48 years since 1973 when the teams first met, we've never lost to the Jets. It's going to happen one day. One day we are going to lose to the Jets. It's just law of probability. But I'm hoping that it's not tomorrow. Don't lose to the Jets tomorrow. You can lose to them in the future or whatever. But this game tomorrow, if you lose this game, the season is done. The season is done. All right? Not officially done, but it's basically all but finished at that point. I just don't see how you could come back from 5-8 and with these other teams like the 49ers and Vikings and Washington, who you still have to play twice. I just don't see it. So, really important game. The Jets, they're a dangerous team. Don't take them lightly. If they can beat the Titans with Derrick Henry and the number one AFC seed Bengals, they can beat the Eagles. They can beat us. They can really beat us. So, we'll see how it happens tomorrow. But go Birds and Gardner Minshew. It's Minshew Mania time, at least for one game. And knock him dead, buddy. Knock him dead.